Hello and welcome back to the continued part of the genetics. Now in the continued part of the genetics, we are going to the second law of Mendel. In the previous part we came across first law of Mendel. Now we are going across the second law of Mendel. Now in the second law is said to be law of independent assortment. It is said to be law of independent assortment. In the previous law, we had came to the statement that whenever a pair of factors for a character are brought in F1, they segregate during the formation of gametes, and based on the cross only, we have did a cross where we have taken a tall plant and a dwarf plant. After crossing, we get a capital T, small t, and in the next generation, F2 generation, these two genes got separated during the formation of the gametes, where we call them as a law of segregation. In the second law, where we call it as a law of independent assortment. First, let's look at the statement, then with an example we can see it. So according to this, we come across a statement called as whenever a pair of factors for two or more characters are brought in F1, they assort independently during the formation of gametes. During the formation of gametes. Now look at this part. Now whenever a pair of factors according to Mendel, factors means genes are always present in pair. This already we know. But look at the character. How many characters are selected? Two or more character. Two or more means if there are two characters, we call it as dihybrid cross. If there are three characters, we call it as trihybrid cross. If there are four, we call it as tetrahybrid cross, and so on. Now here in this, let us look at the two characters, two or more. That means two or three characters, or four characters, or more than two characters. If we take two characters, so already we have written here, this is one character, this is second character. If we take these two characters at a time, then we call it as dihybrid cross. If we are taking only one character at a time, we call it as a monohybrid cross. First law of segregation is based on monohybrid cross. Law of independent assortment is based on dihybrid cross. So whenever a pair of factors for two or more characters are brought in F1, first filial generation, they assort independently or independent of each other during the formation of gametes. How it is? Let us look at an example. In this example, let us take two characters. One is height of the plant. And let us take one more character. Let's take the second character only, shape of the seed. So shape of the seed. So height of the plant and shape of the seed. So we have taken two characters at a time. Height of the plant. What is the height of the plant? We call it as a tall. Height of the plant is a tall. Then let us go to the second character. What is the shape of the seed? First we are writing this tall character. Second, shape of the seed is a round. So tall and round. Cross with next contrasting characters. These are the next contrasting characters. What we can write here? Dwarf and wrinkle. So we have taken these characters. What are these characters called as? These characters, they are called as phenotypes. These are the phenotypes. Then what is the genotype of this? We are going to write the genotypes here. What are the genotypes here? So for tall, we have a character called as a capital T. Genes are always in pairs, and we have to write the tall as tall is in homozygous condition. Round, capital R. Okay, so for tall, capital T. For round, capital R, because it is in homozygous condition. For the next one, dwarf and wrinkle, cross, we are writing the small letters of this, small t, smaller, smaller, because dwarf is in homozygous condition, wrinkle is in homozygous condition. Now, next what we have to write? We have to write the gametes. Gametes has to be written. Now tell me the gametes. Already we know during the formation of the gametes, if the gametes are present in homozygous condition, you may ask, T is different, R is different, but we are taking a pair of contrasting character. We are considering one character. In the tall, look at these two letters, both are same. So we are going to write only one T. Look at the round character, two capital R are there. Out of these two, as it is in homozygous condition, we are taking only one character. That means we are going to write a capital R, round it. There is a rule in the genetics, gametes has to be rounded. So round it. Then next one. So what we are going to write here? The same thing only. Small t, one small t, smaller, one smaller, round it. These are the gametes. Cross it. So after crossing this, what we are going to get? Capital T, small t, capital R, small r. This is F1. One capital T, one small t, one capital R, one small r. Then what is the phenotype of this? Phenotype of the F1. The phenotype is, look at this. Look at this pair of genes. Look at this pair of genes. Capital T, small t. Capital T is dominant. Then what is the height of the plant? Height of the plant is tall. Capital R is dominant over small r. Then shape of the seed is round. Now tell me, how many are tall and round here? If you get one plant is tall and round. If you get 10 plants are tall and round. If you get 100 plants, yes, all the 100 are tall and round. Then what is the percentage of getting tall and round? Yes, it is 100%. This is F1. Then what is the next part? We are going to selfing of F1. Selfing of F1. The F1 plants has to be selfed. Self-pollination has to be done, which is also called as selfing of F1. Then what we do? We are writing F1 cross F1. In the F1, already we have written the genotypes here. Write the genotypes. Capital T, small t, capital R, smaller, cross with capital T, small t, capital R, smaller. The same letter has to be written twice. So this is F1 cross F1. Next is we have to write the gametes. We have to frame the gametes. Gamete has to be formed. Now look at this. Capital T, small t. This is one pair. Capital R, smaller. This is another pair. So we have taken two pairs of contrasting characters. Now look at this. Capital T, small t. Whether it is in homozygous condition or heterozygous. Yes, it is heterozygous. Capital R, smaller. This is also heterozygous. This side, again it is heterozygous. When all the four letters are different, we are going to get different types of gametes. Then how we are going to frame here? Gametes. Look at this. We consider this as, this is 1, 2, 1, 2. Then what we write? First with first, first with second, then second with first, second with second. So we are going to frame the gametes. So here capital T, capital R, round it. Capital T, capital R. Next capital T, small r, round it. Third one, small t, capital R, round it. Then small t, small r, round it. So here we got four different types of gametes. This side again we get the same thing only. Capital T, capital R, capital T, small r, small t, capital R, small t, small r. Look at this, nothing new here. We get the same similar type of gametes. So these are the four different types of gametes that we get during the formation of F2. Now we have to cross it. How to cross it? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. First is crossed with all the four. Second is crossed with all the four. Third is crossed with all the four. Fourth one is also crossed with all the four. So first with, how do we cross? First with first, first with second, first with third, first with fourth. Next, same only. Second with first, second with second, second with third, second with fourth. Then third. Third with first, third with second, third with third, third with fourth. Fourth. Fourth with first, fourth with second, fourth with third, fourth with fourth. Suppose if we do such type of crossing, then we will not come to know what is the phenotype of F2. Because of this confusion, we are going to write it in a checkerboard where we call it as a Punnett square. Punnett is name of a person who first showed that board just to identify the F2 in dihybrid as well as monohybrid crosses also. So let's go to the Punnett square, and in that Punnett square let us see the total number of gametes, and in that part we are going to get the F2 ratios with respect to that of the monohybrid cross. In the monohybrid cross we came across the phenotypic characters as well as the genotypic characters, phenotypic ratios, genotypic ratio. Similarly, in this part again we are going to come across the phenotypic as well as genotypic ratios. So how to do it? So let us plot the checkerboard. Now in the checkerboard what we are going to do is we are going to write the letters here. We are going to write the gametes here. What are the gametes? One is capital T, capital R, round it, capital T, small r, round it, then small t, capital R, round it, small t, small r, round it. This side, capital T, capital R, capital T, small r, small t, capital R, and a small t, small r, round it. Here we take them as a male is to female. That means one plant is considered as male, another one is considered as female. Then we are going to write these genes in this checkerboard, where we also call it as a Punnett square. Now look at this. Now we have to fill this box. You can just count the total number of boxes here. There are 16 boxes, and we have to complete it. So look at the 16 boxes here. So what we can write? How we can write it? So just write the same letters. How do we write? Here we have capital T, capital R, capital T, capital R. Here we are going to write capital T, capital T, capital R, capital R. So capital T, capital T. So besides a capital letter T, we are going to write it same letters only. Capital T, capital T, capital R, capital R. Then here capital T, this T, capital T, capital T, next capital R, and this small r. Here same thing. Capital T, this side small t, capital R, capital R. Here capital T, small t, capital R, small r. So look at this. Write them. Similarly, fill all the box. Write in all the box. So here what we get? Capital T, capital R, small r. Small r is here, capital R is here. We write the dominant letter in the first box. Then next one, this is capital T, small r, small r. Then next box, capital T, capital R, small r. Next box, capital T, small r, small r. This one, capital T is dominant here. Small t, capital R. Next one, capital T, capital R, small r. Next one, small t, capital R. Next one, small t, capital R, small r. Here one, capital T, capital R, small r. This side, capital T, small r. Next one, small t, capital R, small r. Next one, small t, small r. After writing, below we can write its phenotype. Look at the phenotype. Both are capital. One is enough. If one is capital, this is tall. One is capital, round. Tall, round, tall, round, tall, round, tall, round. So when we have capital T, capital R here, this side in this row, we have all tall round. This side we have all tall round because of this. Okay, you can just look over here also. All these are tall and round. All these are tall and round. Then next one, look at this. This is one tall and round. This is one tall and round, and it forms a triangle. If we check like this, it forms a triangle. Look at this. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then based on this we can write the phenotypes also. In the phenotypes, what do we write? Tall round, then tall wrinkle, then dwarf round and dwarf wrinkle. So tall round, how many are there? These are 9. Then tall wrinkle. So tall means minimum one should be capital letter here, wrinkle both should be small. Then just check it, identify it, how many are there? This is one, this is second tall round, and this is a third one. Okay, you can just make it out. This is a 1, this is 2, and this is a tall wrinkle. Both should be small here. Okay, this is 2, and one more is this one, third. So 1, 2, and this is a 3. 1, 2, 3. So these three are what? Tall wrinkle. Okay, the next one is a dwarf round. Both should be small letter. This is 1, then this is second one, this is third one. So 1, 2, 3. So these are 3. So we are going to write 3 here. And last one, all small letters. It is dwarf and wrinkle. It is a 1. So what is the phenotypic ratio that we are going to write here? So write the phenotypic ratio. The phenotypic ratio is 9:3:3:1. If we count their number should be 16. This is dihybrid cross. Based on the phenotypes also we can write the genotypes also we can write the genotypic ratio. Now how the genotypic ratio is written? Genotypic ratio is written based on the genes only. What we have to do? We have to write a capital T, capital T, capital R, capital R. Look at this first box, then count them. Out of the 16 box, it is only 1. Then go to the next one, capital T, capital R, small r. Count them. This is 1. How many are there out of this? Write. Then go to the next box. Write it. How many are there? Count it. If you are counted in the previous part, leave it. Otherwise, go on writing. There, what will get? Genotypic ratio 1:1:2:2:2:4:1. Count them. Their number should be 16. It should not be manually. It is already there. If you go on writing all this, you will get these many numbers of the genes, and this is what is called as genotypic ratio. In this way, we can write the phenotypic as well as genotypic ratio for the dihybrid cross in the Punnett square. So whatever the results that we have got here, this is the F2. This is the F2, second filial generation. Now according to the law of independent assortment, what it says, whenever a pair of factors for 2 or more characters, here we have taken 2 characters, whenever a pair of factors for 2 characters are brought in F1, this is F1. Next, look at the statement. They assort independent during the formation of gamete. They assort independent. Assort independent means they move independently during the formation of gametes. Because of these things only, tall round and dwarf wrinkle, these two are the parental characters, and along with that, here in the middle part we get new recombination character. That means tall and round character, dwarf and wrinkle character are not fixed. Tall and round parental character will be retained. Along with that, this round character may shift to dwarf. That means dwarf round characters will come. This wrinkle character will move to the tall. So tall and wrinkle. These two new recombination characters are obtained due to independent assortment of the characters. So these characters are not fixed. They move independent of each other. That's why this is regarding the law of independent assortment. Then based on the dihybrid cross, based on the law of independent assortment, carry out the crosses by yourself, and I am giving you the assignment questions based on the independent assortment, and just you can write down few problems based on the independent assortment, and you have to write it by itself. Now if you go on practicing, then this genetics becomes very easy. Okay, so first one I did your assignment part. Do the cross. First one is tall yellow cross with a dwarf green. Then take the second character, round yellow cross with wrinkle green. Third one, green yellow cross with yellow green. Then fourth one, tall axial cross with dwarf terminal. So these are few assignment questions for you. The rest of the part you can take any two characters, cross them, get the F1, do F1 cross F1, write the Punnett square, then write the phenotypic ratio. So phenotypic ratio is 9:3:3:1 for dihybrid cross. This is a genotypic ratio. You can write the genotypic and phenotypic ratio also. Genotypic and phenotypic ratio does not change even for these also. And for the monohybrid cross, for the law of segregation, even the genotypic and phenotypic ratio won't change. The phenotypic ratio for the monohybrid cross is 3:1 and genotypic ratio for monohybrid cross is 1:2:1. The phenotypic ratio for dihybrid cross is 9:3:3:1 and the genotypic ratio for dihybrid cross is 1:1:2, 2:2:2, 4:2, 2:1:1. Okay, so solve these problems, try to write all these things and then check whether you will get the correct answer for this. Okay, so all the best and we'll continue the next part in the next class. Thank you.